Hi, I'm Tajci and this is Waking Up in America. Today I have an interesting topic and a wonderful guest. Songwriting. You know how like my kids in school, they learn and they work on creative writing, and I think it's wonderful. It helps so much with expression, even like if it's just, doing little rhymes. Now, I don't know, for me, it was one thing that I really had to work hard on. Even though I've been in music since I was 4, it took me until I was 27 to really let go and release that first song. And I was writing before that too, but it always was in a form of a journal entry or, like a little secret rhyme about my boyfriend or, something silly. Just really had a hard time letting go. And I guess it's a, fear of, here you're opening up, you're creating something and you're going to be critiqued. So on my last album, Awaken, it's all my songs. And after it was done, I received an email from BMI. I am a songwriter with them. And they featured a really nice write-up by Cliff Goldmacher, who is a songwriter and an accomplished musician, producer, and who is the guest on my show today. And then I contacted him because he also offered consultation. Let me see if I can make your song better. Now, I'm telling you, these songs were already published. So that was the time when I felt safe enough to say, okay, Cliff, what can you say about my songwriting? Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure, truly. I've been looking forward to it.
So here's the deal. I wanted you to talk about this, coming out, because it is a shift. It's a moment in which we, wake up to maybe, to our, who we are, we come into a certain confidence, or we just say, okay, I let go.
It's a great question. And I think for songwriters, everybody has a different motivation. I heard you mentioning earlier, for you, it was a tough time in your life that sort of inspired you to write. And for me, it was falling in love. I had played music for a long time, but it was a college girlfriend and I was away from her, and I had played piano since I was a kid and guitar for a couple of years. And all of a sudden I was moved to write something and put something out there. But I think everybody's journey is a little different. Some people have been writing since before they even knew that they were doing it. And other people come to it later. I think it surprised me. I don't think I had initially planned to write songs. It just sort of spontaneously happened.
So do you remember how it felt when what did you do with the song?
Oh, I sent it to her, which is a good policy, by the way. That works. So I think, I remember the feeling of being moved enough to write it.
Oh, good.
And I remember the feeling of sending it to her. And by the way, we were living on different coasts at the time, and this is before a thing called email or the internet. So I actually had to record, remember cassette tapes?
Yes.
I mailed a cassette to her of the song. It was great.
Romantic.
It was a great experience, and I think that was the first door that opened. And then gradually, you keep writing songs and hopefully can write more as a regular routine as opposed to waiting for the heavens to open up and one specific inspiration to happen.
Well, I guess that's when, that's what makes you professional, or
that's right.
Makes it into a job.
Right.
Can I say job?
It's a job. I have a friend in the music business who doesn't even say the word. He says J-O-B. That way, he wants to distance himself from the idea that it doesn't feel like work. You have to take it seriously, of course, but if you love what you do, it's not a bad job.
So when I was, pop star in my country, and when I got into that, the first album was great. The person, my producer who produced for me, he is a great songwriter, and he just knows how to write a hit song. Mm-hmm. And then towards the second album, I was thinking, I don't know, now it's like all crafted, and and my young, rebellious, expression-only self kind of thought, oh, that's a little bit, too applied.
Mm-hmm.
But he always says, you can write all the songs, but if you don't sell a copy...
Well, you've hit on a really interesting distinction. There's the craft of songwriting, and then there's the emotion of songwriting. And if you're missing one or the other, you're sort of in trouble. Just having craft, like what you were talking about, but without any sense of connection to it, it just kind of lies there, right? But if it's all emotion and no craft, the analogy that I use is it's sort of like, well, first of all, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but I've heard songwriters described as emotional nudists, right? So songwriters take these feelings and they show them to everybody.
Yeah.
And so the analogy that I use is when you start writing, it's mostly emotion
Yeah.
and not a lot of craft, which is a little bit, unfortunately, like going like this.
Well, and that's, I
right?
think that's how it was for me. You know, it was all emotion.
Yeah.
And it was scary to then just show.
Sure, and not only is it scary, but from the listener's perspective, by the way, if you do this in real life, you'll get arrested. So,
Yeah.
you know, the other side of that is the craft. And if you learn how to reveal those emotions in a way that's sort of interesting and keeps people connected, there's a sense that they want to know what happens next. So combining the emotion and the craft in a way that, like you said, if you're a young artist, you want to feel like you're saying something. You don't want to just sing this prefabricated little song thing.
Right.
So you have to kind of find the balance.
They said music, 10% talent, 90% work. Do you agree with that?
You know, I think the talent, the way I like to think of it is talent is like the least common denominator. So what happens next, right? Do you have a work ethic? Do you have the kinds of things that will allow you to take this talent and show the rest of the world? And that's just work.
So you write your song, you send it to your girlfriend, she likes it, and
Yep.
then how did you decide to pursue that?
So I graduated from college with a degree in political science. And I
Oh,
had
wow.
taken the LSAT. I had taken the law school entrance exam. And my thought was I had a job for 1 year after college teaching English in the south of France. And so I thought, I'll take the year, then come back and apply to law school and rejoin polite society and go about my business. But in that year, I got a job in a little French cafe playing music 6 nights a week. And in that year, I started to really actively pursue writing songs. I mean, I was playing a lot of songs written by other people, which, by the way, is a great way to learn what works.
Yes.
But I also started writing songs, and my thought was, after that year, if I stop now, I probably won't come back. You know, music is not the kind of thing you can just sort of put away. But my thought was, if I do music for a while and it's not happening for me, law school's always going to be there. But that was 24 years ago. So,
And you never went back.
so far, so good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And when you placed your first song
Uh-huh.
with an artist that was successful, tell me, how did that feel?
Oh, I mean, I get choked up thinking about it. I had been writing songs for about 15 years, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 songs. And a friend and I had written a song for an artist on Universal Decca Records, an Irish tenor named Ronan Tynan. And we sent the song to Ronan, and of course, as with everything in the music industry, nothing happens quickly, right? So we sent the song in, and then just like so many times before, nothing happened quickly, and I forgot about it and moved on. I mean, you know, that was sort of the way things went. I got a panicked call a couple of months later from my co-writer saying, oh, and by the way, my co-writer is a wonderful songwriter named Jeff Cohen, who also lives here and has had some wonderful success in his own right. But I got a panicked call from Jeff saying, Cliff, they're in the studio, they don't have a copy of the song, can you send us a copy of the song? Really? They're in the studio now? So I happened to be one of those organized people. I knew where the song was, I sent it right away. And Ronan recorded the song with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra.
Oh.
And it was incredible.
And when you heard it?
Oh, I mean, it was a real moment.
And as a songwriter and as a, you know, as Cliff, what do you hope, what do you dream when you send a song out?
Oh, you know, I think at first, when I first started writing songs, I mean, the whole idea was just to connect somehow. And the more that I do it, interestingly enough, it's still that feeling of connection. You want to reach people. And I think that's the goal, is to somehow connect with people beyond the people in your immediate circle and get your message out there, I guess.
So here's a challenge for you. Write something. Write a song, not something. Write a song. Song that has an emotional connection, but it doesn't have to be deep. Write a song. I'm not going to say anything else. And post it. Don't just write it, actually. Post it. Give it to someone. Share it. And if you are serious about it, you can always contact Cliff and he'll give you a critique. He was pretty gentle with me. He did say, your lyrics need help a little bit. Sounds like you're not from here. I'm like, yeah.
You're allowed. You're allowed. I think anybody who writes is incredibly brave. So I salute them.
Thank you. So now we're gonna be treated, by ukulele.
Perfect. So I wrote this song with my friend Christy Jackson, and when we sat down to write the song, I actually didn't own a ukulele. But we started to talk about what we wanted to write about, and I thought, Christy, I've been kicking around the idea of buying a ukulele, and this song sounds like it should be on the ukulele. So I went out and got one, and all I knew how to do was just kind of put my fingers in places and hope that it sounded like what I wanted. So bear with me. And this is a song that we wrote with the idea that it's for anyone who has been waiting maybe longer than they thought they were going to have to wait to find the person who's right for them.
Aww.
Okay, so here we go. I've got albums full of pictures and a box of ticket stubs. Years of small reminders of the girls I thought I loved. I knew there was a reason I stayed unattached and free. But girl, I gotta tell you, you took your sweet time finding me. You're so late. Where you been? Just when my faith was wearing thin, I knew that you'd come and I'd find the one who would be so worth the wait. But how could I know you'd be so late? I don't mean to sound ungrateful, and how could I complain? You're all I ever wanted, but still the fact remains you're so late. Where you been? Just when my faith was wearing thin, I knew that you'd come and I'd find the one who would be so worth the wait. But how could I know you'd be so late? If patience is a virtue, well, maybe I'm a saint, but that honor might be premature, which is one thing that you ain't. You're so late. Where you been? Just when my faith was wearing thin, I knew that you'd come and I'd find the one who would be so worth the wait. But how could I know you'd be so late? You're so late. You're so late.
Awesome.
Thanks.
That's fun. It reminded me of all those great songs that we sing at parties in Croatia,
Really?
Yeah, we have this culture where everybody just, somebody always has a guitar, and we sing kind of like songs like this. They're not too heavy, but
Right.
but they do say an intimate part of,
Well, that's the hope, right? Without making it feel too heavy, you're still trying to say something.
So